Today, we're turboing my barn find E30. The E30 BMW is one of the most iconic cars on the road, but given the fact that they're as old as I am, finding a good one is nearly impossible, unless you're willing to pay a huge premium or you happen to stumble upon a barn find owned by an 80-year-old couple in a remote farm town. But this isn't just any E30, this was 83-year-old Koni's daily driver for the last 15 years, and in that entire period, it got rained on twice. She loved this car so much, she repainted it, did all new leather, all new top. The dash has no cracks at all, which is totally unheard of. And guess what? She gave me every service record from February of '87. My birthday. Happy birthday! So today we're giving this car all the TLC it needs, and while we're there, we got some wheels, tires, suspension, and even a turbo to make Koni proud. Now, when I first bought the E30, all of my friends that have these, they asked me the same question over and over. They said, how is the dash? And that's because if you take a look at Facebook Marketplace or eBay and you find an E30, most of the time, these dashes will literally crack in half. But if you look at this one, it is absolutely perfect because they took such good care of this car and it lived inside for its entire life. Now, as I mentioned before, the seats have been redone and they look fantastic. Just don't look at the door panel because you might notice that that's one shade. There's a couple more shades there. And this, I don't know what happened here, but this turned gray at some point. I peeled back the weather stripping to see if it was tan, and it was. So I'm not sure what the heck happened with that. Overall, everything looks absolutely great. On the dash, it has 236,000 miles. But when we take a look at the engine here, one thing I can tell you is I actually don't know how many miles are on this engine, and that's because they love this car so much that they drove it until the engine stopped. Then they replaced it with this used engine, and they have no idea how many miles are on it. So it could have 50,000, it could have 300,000, it could blow up tomorrow, it could last 10 years. I have no idea. But overall, if you take a look at the body and the wheels, this car is in immaculate condition for being 37 years old and for having that many miles on the odometer. They absolutely drove this car, although it looks like a showroom car right now. And you can tell they love to drive it by this amazing suspension. But being that this car looks so good, I feel like it has some dirty secrets. So let's put it on the lift and check out the underneath. All right, so we have the car partially up in the air. One of the things we wanted to see is how solid these suspension components are because this car is very, very wobbly. Now, one of the things that Joe had noticed on the tire, if you see this and it's 4 digits, it's the week of the year. So I guess it'll go from 1 to 52. So this is the 8th week of the year. So what's that gonna be? February-ish of 2008. It's 2024. Look how much tread these have. This thing has been basically in a garage for a very, very long time. I'm actually surprised it starts. One of the things I love about this car, what's holding the grill on? Is it hitting clips? No, there's a Phillips head right in the front of it. Looks like we got shot by something. Wait, I think this is glass. Oh, that's OEM. It's like an OEM Band-Aid. Oh, we got some rubbing wires here. Oh, I found overspray. Now, we said it was painted. We didn't say it was painted well. Let's put it a little bit higher in the air and check out the condition of the underbody. All right, let's see what's under here. Well, it's not dry. So one thing that I didn't mention is in my driveway where I had this parked, I had an oil spot. Dude, look at this. It's like, there's almost like grass and ew, this is disgusting too. It's all over here. It's definitely going to need an oil pan gasket. Look at this. This is disgusting. Oh, Joe, look at that. If you look way up there, it's not just the oil pan gasket. It's totally the valve cover as well, because there is a ridiculous amount of oil up there. Oh, check this out. I forgot about this. So with the E30s, if you take a look, you have the front strut and the knuckle, and you're like, wait, how does it come apart? It doesn't. The knuckle is a part of the front strut. So if you want coilovers, you literally cut this and you literally weld your new one on. Probably one of the dumbest things BMW's ever done. So with that, let's keep looking and see what else we can find. I mean, back here, it's not too bad. I think a lot of this is probably just from flushing back. Now, I don't really know about E30s. There's a hole, and I can see in there pretty far. I mean, overall, like rust-wise, this looks great. That's not factory. This exhaust is super tiny. Hold on, I need my calipers. 39.9 millimeters, which is like 1.5 inches. At the prime location here, before any bend, we're about 1.75 before I moved it and switched it. That's really, really, really small for a 6-cylinder. Now, there are 2 of them, and a lot of exhaust on these modern cars are about 3 inches, so it's actually not terrible. It just looks really tiny. All right, I don't think the car came with blue shocks, and I don't think these blue shocks are doing anything. Now, before we put the turbo on, I wanna get this oil leak situation under control. Again, I think it's just the oil pan gasket and also the valve cover gasket. I also, with the turbo kit, I have to drill into the oil pan. So I guess while I have it off, that's going to be the best time to do this anyway. I should also probably pull off the bumper in the whole process of this because the intercooler is gonna have to get up there. Might wanna even start with removing the hood. So let's start to take this thing apart and see how it goes. I just found a random bolt just like sitting inside the car. Look, ready? Found a bolt. Whatever that goes. Let's put it back. All right, so this is our first look at it with the hood out of the way. I mean, it looks pretty simple. If you look down there, there's a lot of exposed wire that looks like it was in a harness, but it's not now. How'd you get like that, buddy? But some of these bolts, I have some pretty big concerns that I'm gonna snap a bolt off and then I'm gonna have to drill out the head. So that's really scary. All right, well, we just broke our first stud into the head. That sucks. All right, hood's off. Now I'm gonna take the wheels off. Before I do that, we are going to be replacing this gasket up here for the valve cover. So I'm just going to clean it just a little bit just to make sure that no junk is going to fall into the head. I thought it was gonna be a lot more stuck than that. Oh my gosh, they're so light. ABS, and it has a brake wear sensor that looks like the lines are, well, the lines are over here. One of the coolest things about this car, you ready for one of the coolest parts of this car? Ready, watch this. We use these lights that have magnets. They're metal. I really think I have to cut this. Maybe I just want to cut it. I don't know. There is no room for an intercooler. Customer states oil spots on driveway. Could not duplicate problem. Was a bird. We are up against pretty big challenge at this moment because the intercooler is going to go here, and then it has 2 like 3-inch pipes that are going to go down, around, up, and then the turbo is going to go over here and the intercooler piping is going to go over here. And as you can see, there's well, there's no space under here. This is gonna be a challenge. I hope it doesn't prevent us from actually installing all this stuff. But before I get too far, let's take a break and I'll show you what I bought. Now, when I bought the E30, I knew that it was going to be pretty slow because it's a 37-year-old car that was never really designed to be all that fast. So I knew that I needed to bump up the power, and I was looking for either a supercharger kit or a turbocharger kit. But what I found is, as I was looking, a lot of companies wanted to sell you a manifold or wanted to sell you a turbo, but nobody really wanted to offer a full kit. Except I found this one from CX Racing. This is not sponsored. We have intercooler piping. We have this exhaust. We have a manifold. We have a T4 GT35 turbo, and I paid to do the ceramic ball bearing upgrade. We have a wastegate. We also have a blow-off valve, the intercooler, if I didn't say that already. There's also a slew of other odds and ends, fittings, little oil lines and whatnot. All of this, $2,600. I mean, even if it didn't work, I couldn't say no to that. And they say that this kit is capable of 500 horsepower. Now, I don't think I'm going to be taking this up to 500. Even if I could get over 300, that's probably a safer range for me to go. I think this car comes with about 175 horsepower. So I don't want to go too nuts. I'm not really looking to blow it up. I just want it to be a super light daily driver, but also be mindful that this car doesn't exactly have traction control. So I'm not trying to make it a death wagon either. So for the money, again, this is about $3,000. No kit online had all of this in one single kit. A lot of kits, they would have like a manifold and a turbo, and it's like, oh, you have to make your own exhaust. And I just don't have the tools or the time to do that right now. So I thought, hey, this is a full kit. Even if the turbo failed or some of the welds failed or something like that, I could always repair it. I could always beef it up and make it better. It was just such a good platform to start with that I couldn't say no. And this kit basically came with everything that I need except instructions. So with that, let's at least start and test fit the intercooler. All right. It's gotta go here-ish, but I'm wondering if we have to delete our AC altogether because this line is totally in the way. This is definitely in the way. So I didn't think you had to delete that. We might have to delete the air conditioning, which I don't really want to do. All right, in the meantime, let's keep disassembling the top and tackle some of these oil leaks. So this is a whole new ball game for us. We typically just work on new cars, so I'm not used to everything just being covered in crap, having to use entire cans of PB Blaster, and I'm not used to taking hoses off and just having them dry rot and deteriorate. So this is definitely a whole new ball game for us. Science. All right, it's manifold time. Ew, that's ugly. Look how much oil and nasty is like in each port.
That's not good. Look at the chunks in there. Look how big they are.
There's chunks? Look at How did this car run? All right, so since we have the valve cover and the intake manifold off the car, we thought, you know what? They look terrible. We might as well just take them to get powder coated because we surely have enough to do while they're gone for about a week. So that won't be an issue. So with that, let's continue. Bolts are really corroded, and we tried to put a 12 on because BMW likes using 12s on this car, and it's too big. So we tried an 11, and it was way too small. So then we tried standard size, and it was either way too big or way too small. So it's like nothing fits. So I think it's just because everything is so corroded, but it's kind of awkward to get a hammer up there. Also, the bolts that hold this exhaust pipe to what we'll call the header, yeah, they suck too. All right, we have a secret tool that we're gonna try to get these bolts off with. Now, the way that this works is this heats up these things, and it's supposed to heat up the bolt and make it a lot easier to get off. However, there's one critical issue. Joe was reading the instructions and it says, absolutely do not use this if you have metal in your body. And I have metal in my body. See, my wrist is screwed together, which is why I have limited motion. Apparently it uses some kind of electromagnetic thing to like heat it up. So there's a chance that I might burn my body from the inside. So let's try it out. Listen, I don't, it also said you're not supposed to wear pants with zippers. Don't wear any metal objects, rings, watches, body piercing, medical surgical implants, cue scar, no pacemaker. Don't touch it immediately after use. All right, buddy, it's hot. Ready, Zach? I'll just use it with this hand. No, it doesn't fit.
No.
Well, let's try it in here. Ready?
Okay.
1,
Should I be this close?
2, I don't know. 3, 4. Oh, well, I didn't play that very well. It's either working or rounding. Oh, it's hot. Dude, the socket is like super hot. Oh my gosh.
Did it work?
I don't know, wet my mouth. Let's try it on this one, ready? So 72. 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's weak sauce.
1, 2, it says only 4 seconds. 3,
He's smoking a lot.
4.
Okay. Still not that hot. Why is it smoking if it's not getting hot?
Well, I threw PB Blaster on there.
Oh.
All right, I have a secret socket that I can't tell you about. And if this works, I'm gonna be really excited.
A few moments later.
All right, well, we just broke our first stud into the head. That sucks. All right, so far 2 studs came out. 1 stud snapped in half. All right, from the last time you saw, today is actually a different day. And as you can see from here, from my little light here, we had a little bit of grinding that we had to do. And I don't know how you are, but I can't sleep at night unless I get to a certain point. So when everybody went home, I still kept cutting, I still kept grinding, and I made sure to get those headers both completely off. Now the next problem is, as you can see, we still have a lot of exhaust on, and that's because these bolts are seized. Everything is seized. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna lop this off, pull out the header, and throw this other exhaust in the trash.
What the heck?
Oh, it doesn't work. Oh, it stinks. Oh, it's smoking. Can you see that?
Oh gosh. Whoa! You burnt the motor.
I didn't even use it. Ow.
You're
The
right.
light fell on my head. All right, what I want to do now is I want to test fit the manifold and also the turbo to start to see where everything is going to go. As I mentioned earlier in the video, we had a little bit of an issue with the AC being in the way of the intercooler and also this oil cooler. Now, I reached out to the company and tried to get some help. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to figure some of this out on my own because they said it is possible to keep your AC, but you basically have to cut and weld, but they couldn't really give me examples on what exactly I'd have to do. Another thing is if you look over here, there's a hole on this side where the accumulator sits right now for the air conditioning. I believe the intercooler piping has to go through there. And on the other side, there's no hole, which is fine, because I did expect to do a little modification, but I thought this kit was going to be a lot more plug and play. I mean, I'm turboing an E30, I get it, but it was supposed to be, in my mind, a little bit more user-friendly and plug and play. Even things like this oil cooler, where it's not gonna work because the intercooler piping has to come down. When I went back and looked at all of the pictures, not only was that just not there, it was completely unplugged. So they just hadn't installed it, which I get, like, but having pictures of it fully installed would have really helped. The other thing I noticed from the pictures online, now that I'm going back and over analyzing everything, this coolant tank, which sits here, it's just not here. Now, this is something from an early model. In the late models, it goes over there. But to do that, I need a whole new water pump. I'm probably gonna have to get a whole new hose kit. And I haven't figured out how to route all of the coolant over there instead. The other thing, again, which isn't a huge deal, it's defeating my purpose of having this more plug and play. They don't have any pictures of the windshield washer reservoir. So I wanna just get this turbo in here, start to eyeball it up, because I think this is gonna turn into a little bit more of a custom project. And I'm definitely biting off a little bit more than I can chew. This looks really big. Like, I hope the hood shuts. I'm not concerned, you're concerned. It's hitting the AC, look, it's hitting right here. All right, so I can't even test fit it because the AC, again, is in the way. The AC is 100% a problem. And I have concerns with how high this is sticking up. All right, let me grab the turbo.
At least it's small.
All right, so this is gonna go here. This, I assume then, is gonna go down here, and then this is gonna go here. Shocking update, we hit the AC. So this is gonna go here like that. Got it, we're definitely, this is not working. Another reason it doesn't work with AC is because this is here, and this is where your downpipe has to go. So it hits here, it hits there, it's blocking there, the fan is too big, and this is too big. It doesn't work with AC unless you go crazy custom.